6:25 now, 48 degrees on this day, 1898. The groundwork is laid for the town of Nome.
It began with a land claim that would yield millions in gold. In this week's Story Time with Aunt Phil, author Laurel Downing Bill tells us how the search for treasure helped build this tiny town.
Some of the gold here at the Alaska Mint can be traced back to the beaches and creeks of Nome.
Gold that more than 100 years ago lured prospectors from every direction. And Laurel, when was the first significant find made?
That would be in 1898 on September 22nd when 3 greenhorn Scandinavians discovered gold on Anvil Creek at Cape Nome, which is near what today we know as Nome. The 2 Swedes and the Norwegian made their claim, and gosh, over the period of just a few years, it brought out $3.5 million, and over 2 decades, more than 80 million.
So that discovery brought a lot of people from all over the world flocking to the beaches of Nome.
When word got out, Dawson pretty much emptied out. The Klondike had pretty much played out by that time with all the good claims, and so people just came racing up to Nome. And of course, there was a lot of ne'er-do-wells and crooks and dishonest people who didn't pay any attention to mining laws. So it didn't take long for all the really good claims to have been jumped at least twice, and then many of them had several claimants on them as well.
One discovery in particular would change Nome forever.
That's correct. We had a gentleman who was an old prospector from Idaho, and then a guy who was up there on a detachment to help keep things safe with the Army, to keep the settlement safe. And they stumbled across gold on the beaches of Nome. Well, that changed everything because it was public property. And so it became known then as the poor man's gold rush, when more than 20,000 people streamed into Nome by 1900. So it was just a crazy time.
And that discovery, that would bring in people from, let's say, all walks of life.
Yeah, we had so many people coming up, even famous people like Wyatt Earp. He came up between 1899 and 1901, went into partnership with a guy, and they built the Dexter Saloon. He was very good at mining the miners with alcohol and gambling. You also had famous novelist Rex Beach came up, and he wrote a book called The Spoilers about all the corrupt officials. Actually, it was made into a movie 5 different times.
Wow, the Wild West.
You know, the party in Nome would eventually be spoiled. Like any gold rush, it kind of, has to come to an end. When did the one in Nome officially come to an end?
By 1910, it had pretty much played out, and the population dropped back down to just a few thousand people. But it can certainly lay its claim to our gold heritage by having the poor man's gold rush up there that started on September 22nd, 1898.
A lot of those historic dredges still up in Nome today, and with over the past decade gold prices rising, people still mining this kind of gold out on Nome's beaches.
Wouldn't mind finding some of that. That's worth it. Big thanks to the Alaska Mint for having us for Story Time with Aunt Phil.